think there's this pervasive idea that karma is a one-to-one reciprocal action. So that if I do something good today, something good will happen to me or for me tomorrow or the next day or in the future. And that is one way to look at karma, but I want to throw out a different idea. One definition of karma is action. So I act, and that action sets into motion a chain of events. But that chain of events is not always predictable. So I act and I think this is a good action and something good will come from this. But then, you know, pandemics happen and earthquakes happen and plagues of locusts happen in the Bible anyway. And we can't predict those things. And so let's just maybe think about yoga as taking the let's just think about karma as taking the next right step, the next right action, and letting go of what should happen, because there's a lot of unpredictability in the world. I do believe that if we take the next thoughtful step, the next right action, then we have a greater chance of reaching our goal than if we are just willy-nilly moving around without being thoughtful or without putting good out into the universe. So in our physical practice today, our asana practice, we're going to work on taking the next right action, the next right step, and then letting go of what happens there, knowing that we are working towards that goal, whether we reach that goal or not. There are a lot of factors in between. So find a seat where you can sit up tall and settle in. Close your eyes. Take a moment to be with the rhythm of your breath. Focus on your next few exhales as an exercise in letting go. You let go of that breath and maybe let go of outcomes, thinking that I do one good action, I receive one good action. Reframe that into I do one good action, I get one step closer to my goal. In yoga, our ultimate goal is enlightenment, so we have a lot to do today. We have a lot of steps to take to get there. Bring your hands together at your heart in Anjali Mudra and make a commitment to focus on this step, creating the next right action, being thoughtful in what you do, and in our asana practice, being thoughtful in how you move your body and your breath. On an exhale, release your hands down. And as you inhale, sit a little taller and open your eyes up. All right, if you're following along with the playlist, it's time to tap play and then get onto your mat in child's pose. Knees wide, big toes touching or towards one another. And stretch your arms out in front of you. Take a moment to settle your body into the earth. This child's pose is a pose of humility. So let go as you settle into the earth. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Sigh it out through your mouth. Start to lift your palms off the mat. So keep the fingertips on the mat, just lift the palms, Lift the armpits away from the mat, lift your forehead off the mat. And see if you can walk those fingers a little bit farther forward. Stretching out a little bit more. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, walk your hands off to the right, so your hands will be off the right side of your mat. Right palm down on the floor, and then press the left palm on top of the right hand. Interweave your left fingers into the right fingers. Hook on there with your hands, and then peel back from your outer left hip, getting a little longer into that left side body. One more deep breath in here, one more exhale here. And then unlace the fingers, walk the hands through the middle and then over to the left. So left palm down on the ground, right palm on top of the left hand. Hook your right fingers into the webbing of the left fingers and then pull back through your right hip. Get longer into your right side. One more inhale here and one more exhale here to get a little more length. And then as you inhale, walk your hands into the middle and now lift up to all fours, hands and knees. Bring your knees underneath your hips, wrists underneath your shoulders. Find the rhythm to your breath. So steady inhale, steady exhale, maybe even tone in the throat to create a Ujjayi breath, the more vigorous pranayama. And then once you've got that rhythm, add a movement to the rhythm. On your next exhale, take a cat pose, lift from the belly and then stretch the back. Inhale, cow pose, belly goes towards the floor as you look forward and send the inner thighs back. Keep moving with this rhythm of your breath, exhaling for cat and inhaling for cow. Going back and forth. After your next cow pose, come into a neutral spine. Extend your right leg back towards the back of your mat. Ball of the foot at first on the floor, and then spin that right heel down. Put weight into your left hand, your left knee. As you inhale, take the right hand back past the right hip. And as your right arm reaches up overhead, roll your shoulder back a little bit, and then circle the arm forward and down. Inhale, back and up. Open the shoulder, exhale, forward and down. One more, circle around here, just opening the shoulders, moving with the breath. Now take that right arm straight up overhead again, tone into your core, lift your right leg straight up off the floor, and then bend your right knee. Reach back with the right hand and see if your right hand can find the right foot. If it doesn't, you can use a strap and just let go of thoughts about how maybe you should be able to get your foot by now after all this time. At first, just hug your heel in towards your hip, opening up the front of your right thigh. And then on an exhale, push your heel away from your hip, pushing your foot into your hand, broadening across your chest, opening up here. And then exhale, gently release your foot, hand to the mat, right knee down to the mat. Exhale, cat pose. Inhale, cow pose. Let's take one more round here of cat and cow. And then from neutral with a toned belly, extend your left leg to the back of the mat and get the whole foot down on the floor so the left toes point out to the left. As you inhale, take the left hand back towards the back of your mat and your hip, and then up overhead, open up the shoulder, exhale, forward and down. Two more circles around, letting the movement of your arm follow the rhythm of your breath. So that completes the third circle there. Take that left arm straight up into the air, open up here, and then lift your left foot off the ground, bend your left knee, reach back with your left hand, and just see if your foot is back there. Taking the next right action here. Once you find your foot with your hand or a strap, hug your heel in towards your hip, opening across the front of your thigh. Tighten up into your core to help you hold the balance here. And now let's exhale and push the foot back into the hand, opening up, expanding into a sideways back bend here. And then use your next exhale to release the pose. Hand down to the mat, knee down to the mat. And again, exhale, cat. Just one round here. Inhale, cow. And then downward facing dog. Once you find your downward dog, take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Start slowly walking your feet to the front of your mat, taking the next right step and the next, walking up to the front, and then folding over your legs. Make sure your feet are about hip width distance apart. They can be a little wider, a little narrower, depending on how you're feeling today. Wider will give you more stability. Narrower will cause you to use more balance. Couple more breaths here, hanging over the legs. Move your head around a little bit, loosen up your neck. And then on your next inhale, get really strong into your legs. Push your feet down into the floor and rise up to stand, sweeping the arms out to the sides. And then high up overhead, touch the palms together. And then on an exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Let's take Surya Namaskar A here, moving with the rhythm of the breath. Inhale up, Ujjayi, exhale, lowers you down. Inhale, lengthen out halfway. Exhale, step your feet to the back of your mat for a downward dog. Lift your hips high into the air and sink your heels down into the floor. Inhale, plank pose. Feel your strength in plank. Exhale, bend the elbows, lower, chaturanga. Inhale to cobra. Lift up through your heart. Lower back down to your mat on your exhale. Bend both knees. Reach back with your hands. Grab your feet. Hug your heels in towards your hips. If you're not feeling any stretch across your quadriceps, draw your tailbone down towards the floor. So this is a pelvic tuck. This might help you get into your quads a little bit more, just depending on your body. One more inhale here, and then exhale. Release your feet. Stretch the legs back. Downward facing dog. Bring your feet to the top of your mat. Fold down and inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Take your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers, broaden the chest, and then lift your hands away from your back. Think here about drawing your low ribs down, so pull the belly back, draw the low ribs down, and keep that and broaden across your chest at the same time. It's a lot of actions to hold in the body at once. Release your hands down, unlace the fingers, inhale, arms up overhead, stretch tall, exhale, forward bend, fold down. Inhale, lengthen out halfway. Exhale, take your vinyasa, stepping your feet back or jumping your feet back. Using your breath to guide you from one pose or one step to the next. What is right for your body? From downward facing dog, inhale, right leg high behind you, lift it up. Bend your knee and twist open. Create length into your right side. Inhale, reach the right leg back, square your hips. Exhale, lunge your right foot to the top of your mat. Come up to warrior two. Rooting into the feet, rising up through the torso. Front knee settles right over the ankle. Gaze out past the front hand. Nice and steady here. Take a breath in. On your exhale, side angle pose. Right fingers to the floor or right forearm to the thigh. Left arm right over your ear. Stretching out through the left side body. Inhale, lift back up to warrior two. Exhale, reverse warrior. Now stretch out through the right side body. Inhale, lift back up to warrior two, and then rotate around to the front of your mat, coming into high crescent pose. So both arms up overhead. You're on just the ball of that left foot. Once you find your high crescent, add in a back bend here, opening across the chest. On your exhale, warrior three, balancing on your right leg. Arms stretched out in front if you can, or hands to your heart. Stretch back through the left foot, half moon pose. Lower your right fingers to the floor, take your left fingers to the sky and lift that left hip up. Point the left toes straight out to the left. Steady here. Ardha Chandra Chapasana, half moon sugarcane pose. Bend your left knee, reach back with your left hand. See if your foot is there, grab on. Once you've got the bind, push your heel away from your hip, roll your shoulder back, open up. Maybe take your head back a little bit here. Just be with what you've got in this pose. The next right step is happening right now. And then exhale, release. Foot to the back of your mat, hands down to the mat. One leg dog, take your right leg back and up behind you. Fly it high. Inhale, one leg plank. Exhale, one leg chaturanga. Inhale, take your back bend, both feet on the floor. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg back and up behind you. Bend your knee and twist open. Push down and a little forward through that left hand to get more space into your left side body. Inhale, stretch the left leg back, square your hips up. Exhale, lunge your left foot to the top of your mat. Lift yourself into warrior two. Take a moment to get steady here. And then on your exhale, side angle pose. Left fingers down or left forearm on the left thigh. Really stretch over with that right arm. Inhale, lift up, warrior two. Exhale, reverse warrior. Inhale, lift back up to warrior two, and then rotate, pivot around towards the front of your mat to high crescent pose. Back heel is lifted. Once you're there, strong belly, and then a back bend. Open across the front of the body. Use your exhale to come out and balance in warrior three. Balancing on the left leg, stretching the right leg behind. On your exhale, half moon pose, left fingers to the floor. As your right fingers lift up, roll the right shoulder back. Roll the right hip up. Half moon sugarcane pose. Bend your right knee, reach back with your right hand. If you don't quite get the bind, let that go. Know that you're taking all the thoughtful steps to get you there. If you do get the bind, take a moment to pull your heel in towards your hip. And then on your next exhale, push your foot away, roll your shoulder back a little bit more. And then exhale, let the pose dissolve. Hands to the front of your mat. Step your right foot to the back of your mat. And one leg dog again. Left foot high to the sky behind you. One leg vinyasa if you choose. And then bring your feet about 3/4 of the way forward on your mat. You're going to want to leave enough mat in front of your toes for a crow pose eventually, but not right now. Inhale, rise up. Touch your palms together above your head. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. We're going to stand on our right leg and take dancer pose. So shift your weight into your right foot. Keep your gaze out in front. Bend your left knee so that the foot comes behind you. Reach down with your left hand or a strap and grab onto your foot. Take your right arm into the air. Now we go into dancer. Deep breath in to begin, and then on an exhale, hinge forward at that right hip. As you get your chest coming forward, press your left foot back into your left arm. Roll that left shoulder back. Lift up through the right side of your body. Dancer. On an exhale, chair pose. Bring the left foot down to meet the right. Find your chair pose. Next thoughtful step here is maybe to get a little deeper with the hips. Exhale, crow pose. Hands down at the front of your mat. Lift your heels up. Squeeze your inner knees onto your outer arms. Bend your elbows. Lean forward. Pick up the feet. Find your crow, or taking the steps to move into your crow. And then flow from here. Either shoot the feet back to chaturanga or lower the feet down and then step back to downward dog. Let breath guide you step by step. Each step, the next right step for your body, for your mind, for your heart, for your karma. We'll meet in downward facing dog. On an inhale, take your right leg back and up. We're going to bend the knee and twist again. This time, if you want to flip over here, you can, or hold the one leg dog with a twist. Your choice. If you flipped over, come back around to one leg dog. And then lunge your right foot to the top of your mat. We're coming back up to high crescent pose. Sweep the arms forward and lift up overhead. Opening up across the chest here. On an exhale, hands to your heart. Twist around to the right, so hook the left arm on the outside of the right leg. Once you've found your twist, open the arms up. Take the left fingers towards the floor, right fingers up into the sky, rotating around. Now you're going to keep this twist. Inhale, lift up. So the crown of your head reaches up for the sky. Left arm is reaching in front of you. Right arm is reaching behind. Take your right hand down to the left leg. And then lift that left bicep right by your left ear as you back bend in the twist here. As you inhale, lift up out of the pose. Come around to warrior two. There we go. Straighten the front leg, reverse triangle pose. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, regular triangle pose. Lean out, right fingers to the ground or your prop, left fingers to the sky. Exhale, let the pose dissolve, hands down to the mat. If you want that one leg flow, fly the right leg back and up behind you. Take the one leg flow here, or two leg vinyasa. And then we meet in downward facing dog. Good. Bring your feet about 3/4 of the way forward on your mat, leaving enough room at the front of your mat for an eventual crow pose. We're not quite ready for it yet. From standing forward bend at the front of your mat, chair pose. Lower the hips down, lift the heart up, and then straighten the legs. Take a back bend here. Inhale, back up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Second side begins with dancer pose. Shift your weight into your left foot. I like to keep the tiniest little bend into my left knee. It's much easier to hold the balance that way than with a locked out knee. Bend your right knee so the right foot comes back behind you. Reach back with right hand or strap and find a bind, holding the foot. Take your left arm up to the sky. We'll take just a couple of breaths here, balancing and quad stretching. And then we'll turn this into dancer. On an exhale, bring your chest forward and press your foot back. Also pressing the foot up to the sky. One more breath in here. Use your exhale to come into chair pose. Right foot meets the left foot on the mat. Lower the hips down, lift the heart up. Exhale, hands down at the front of your mat. Crow pose. Widen those knees out. Lean forward, take your gaze forward. And then take your vinyasa from here, shooting the feet back or stepping them back. We meet in downward dog. Inhale, lift your left leg high behind you. Bend your knee and twist open again. Stay with the twist, or if your shoulder will support it, if your back will support it, flip over and open your chest up to the sky. Yes, this looks beautiful. I can see you in these beautiful back bends. Inhale, come back around to one leg dog. On your exhale, lunge your left foot to the top of your mat. We'll come to high crescent pose. Find a back bend here in your high crescent. Inhale, lift back upright. Exhale, hands to your heart. One more breath in to lengthen up through the side bodies, and then exhale, twist to the left. Right arm touches down on the outside of your left leg. Once you're in your twist, lower your right fingers towards the floor, left fingers towards the sky. Hold the twist. It's going to take a lot of core action to hold that twist. Inhale, lift up, reaching the right arm out in front, left arm back behind, and then turn this twist into a back bend. Take your left hand down to your right leg. Bring your right bicep near your right ear. And then inhale, release. Take your arms up overhead. Exhale, settle down into warrior two. Straighten the front leg, reverse triangle pose. Open up long through the left side. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, triangle pose. Left fingers to a prop or the floor. Right fingers to the sky. Roll open across your chest. Take your head back even a little bit here. Good, and then exhale, hands down to the front of your mat. You can step back to one leg dog if that's how you ended the first side, or two leg dog. Take a vinyasa, or hold your downward dog or child's pose. What is the next right step for you? That is your karma, your action, the next right step, the next right action. All right, this time, bring your feet all the way up to the front of your mat. Standing forward bend. And then last chair pose of the practice. Lower the hips, sweep the arms up. Maybe since it's the last one, go a little bit deeper with the hips and lift up through the heart a little bit more. And then stand all the way up. Take a back bend here. Inhale, back up. Exhale, hands to your heart. We move on now, letting go of the actions of the past and doing the next right thing for us. Inhale, take your arms to the sky. Exhale, lower your hands down to the floor, fold over your legs. Inhale, lengthen out. It's vinyasa time. Take it as you like it, as it's right for you. And then we come together in downward facing dog. From downward dog, inhale, right leg high behind you. Lift it up, maybe take it a little bit higher this time. And then exhale, lunge the right foot to the top of your mat. High crescent pose again. Sweep the arms forward and up. Find that back bend once more. And then on your exhale, hands down at the front of your mat. Straighten your front leg, fold over it. Inhale, bend back into your front knee. So in this bend, in this lunge, connect your right ribs to your right thigh. And now when you exhale and straighten that right leg, try to keep that rib to thigh connection, and we'll hold it right here. Couple of breaths. Next, inhale, bend back into the right knee. Now we're going to lower the left knee to the mat. So this is one place in the practice where you might want that padding under your knee, tucking your mat under it, or putting a blanket or shirt, towel, whatever you have underneath that left knee. Put your left palm down onto the mat. As you inhale, circle your right arm forward and up, and then circle it back behind you. Bend your left knee and see if your right hand can find your left foot. So I like to have my hand on the inside of the foot for this. Outside works, I think inside's a little bit easier on the ankle. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, bend into your left elbow and bow down inside the right leg, pulling that left foot with you as you bow down. Inhale, lift back up and twist. Push your foot back into your hand, look back towards your foot. 2 more times like this. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, lift up and twist. 1 more time, get low. And then inhale, lift up, push your foot back. And then gently release your foot, let it lower down to the mat. Take both arms up overhead, so find a back bend right here. And then strong belly, keep the toes tucked under, or tuck the toes under on the back foot. And then lift that left knee off the mat. So we're back up to high crescent pose. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, warrior 3, balancing on the right foot. Come back out to warrior 3. This time we'll take a revolved half moon pose. Left fingers down to the floor. Sweep the right fingers up to the sky. And then maybe bend the back knee. Pull that left heel in towards your hip. Reach back with the right hand. See if you can find your foot. If you didn't, just let go of what maybe didn't happen that you thought should. And then roll open here a little bit. Revolved, half moon, Shavasana pose. Exhale, let it all go. Step back into a lunge. Step back to one leg dog. Right leg is the one that lifts up. One leg vinyasa with the right leg lifted is an option for you. We'll meet in a child's pose, either now if you're not vinyasa-ing or when you finish the vinyasa. Take a few breaths in the child's pose to let go of that flow that just happened. So we've been working on stretching out the quadricep muscles. We've been working on reaching back with the hand, opening up the shoulder as we reach back with the hand to grab a foot. Increasing the difficulty as we go, adding balance, adding twists, taking the next right step, having faith that as we take these steps, we eventually get to the version of the pose that's right for us. The version that you're in at the moment is the version that's right for you at that moment. We take the next right step to get to our goal. Okay, back to downward facing dog. Now the second side begins. Inhale, left leg back and up behind you. Exhale, use your core to lunge that foot to the front of your mat. High crescent pose. Take the arms up overhead. Find a back bend here, broaden across the chest. On an exhale, bring the hands forward and down to the mat. As you exhale, straighten the left leg and fold over it. And then inhale, bend back into the left knee. So right here, try to connect your left ribs to the top of your left thigh. Keep that connection as you straighten the left leg again and fold. And we'll hold here for a couple of breaths. Okay, bend back into your left knee. Lower your right knee to the ground. Pat it. And then once you're all set up there, sweep the arms forward and up. Find the back bend right here, lifting your chest up to the sky. And then exhale, hands down at the front of your mat on either side of the left foot. Flatten your right palm down to the mat. Reach the left arm forward and up, reaching it back, rolling the shoulder back, and then bending that right knee, reaching back to find your foot. Maybe holding on to the inside of the foot or using your strap to hold on here. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, turn around towards the front of your mat, bend at the right elbow, lower down inside the left leg, bringing the right foot with you. Inhale, lift back up and twist. Push the foot away, look back towards your foot. 2 more times. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, lift up and twist. 1 more, get low. And then inhale, lift up and open up. Gently release your foot. Let it float down to the mat. Bring your hand back to the front of your mat. Sweep your arms up to the sky. Tuck the toes under on the back foot. And then lift the back knee off the ground, lifting up to high crescent pose. 1 breath in here, exhale, come out and balance in warrior 3. Steady here, tiny bend in that left knee. Revolved half moon pose, right fingers down to the floor, sweep the left fingers up to the sky. Now, bend the right knee and reach back with the left hand, maybe finding that foot. If you don't find it, just try to keep reaching. And then push your foot into your hand, roll the left shoulder back, revolved half moon, Shavasana, sugarcane pose. And then exhale, gently release, float your foot to the back of your mat, step back, 1 leg dog, left leg lifting up to the sky, 1 leg vinyasa. And once again, child's pose is the place where we meet. Take a moment to settle into that child's pose. This pose of humility, of letting go, no matter what happened in the flows that we've taken today. Just knowing that taking the next thoughtful step is getting you closer to your goal. All right, lift up to downward facing dog. And we'll take pigeon prep here. So we'll bring the right leg forward for pigeon prep. If pigeon prep like this does not work for you, you come onto your back and take a reclining pigeon, right ankle crossing above the left knee. Start to walk your hands forward, maybe lowering down onto your elbows, or have your hands wide here, whatever feels right for you. And just take some longer breaths here to stretch out the system of muscles that wrap from the low back around the hip into the front of the hip. All right, start to walk your hands back up. So we're going to take a version of Mermaid Pose here. So we'll lean forward a little bit, pull the belly in. If you were in that reclining pigeon, you're going to roll onto your right side and stretch your left quad out. If you're in the regular pigeon, bend your left knee, reach back with the left hand, grab your foot, and hug your heel in towards your hip. So first option is to stay right here. Second option is to walk your left hand down your left shin, trying to tuck your toes more into your armpit or towards your armpit, reaching that left hand back towards your knee, and then rotating back around towards the front of your mat. That's a little intense. And then on an inhale, release. We're all going to meet in half boat pose. So if you're in regular pigeon, sit over onto that right hip, swing your left leg around, and we'll come into half boat. This is what I'm calling half boat. Different people call it different names, where the shins are parallel to the ground, palms facing up. We're not going to do anything fancy here. We're just going to work on finding core strength through the abdominals, but also across the back body here for a few more breaths. All right, let's come into a cross-legged seat. So we'll bring the right shin in front of the left shin. Now we'll take another arm balance. It's called Tol Asana. So in this one, you have your hands down on the ground, not right on either side of your hips, but a little bit in front. And then lean forward, push down into your hands, lift your hips up. Think about drawing your knees up towards your shoulders, maybe lifting those feet off the ground, maybe not, and then lower back down. That is a toughie. So we let go of maybe what didn't happen. Just because you practice the pose doesn't mean that you get into the version of the pose that you want. We get into the version of the pose that's right for us today. Make your way back to downward dog, or if you're going to do reclining pigeon on the left side or if you're going to do reclining pigeon on the second side, then you roll down onto your back. And then the rest of us from downward dog, bring your left leg forward into pigeon prep. Take a moment to get settled in so you don't have pain in your knee or your hip. Finding the angle of the shin that's right for you. And then as you're ready, walk the hands forward and lower down to whatever degree of low is right. Maybe on the hands or the forearms, Maybe stretching the arms out in front. About 2 more breaths here. And then if you are in reclining pigeon, you're going to roll onto your left side and stretch that right quad out. If you're in regular pigeon, walk your hands back. So hands at the front of your mat, pull your belly back. Keep that belly strength happening. Bend your right knee, reach back with your right hand, grab your foot and draw your heel in towards your hip. So you can stay right here. This is a great version of Mermaid Pose. Or we can take the version where we start to walk our hand down the shin, trying to get the toes into the armpit or towards the armpit. As you reach your right fingers down towards your right knee, rotate back towards the front of your mat, lift your chest up. And then exhale, release, let that one go. We'll meet in half boat pose. No matter what version of pigeon we took, we'll come into this half boat just to turn the core strength back on here before we take our final arm balance. And then come into a cross-leg seat with the left shin in front. So hands down on the mat, not right behind the hips or not right beside the hips and not right under the shoulders, but a little bit forward. You got to have the hands forward so we can lift the booty off the ground. Now lean forward, bringing the shoulders on top of the wrist or even out in front of the wrist. Push down into your hands. Think about swinging your hips back, pulling your knees up towards your shoulders. Your feet may or may not clear the floor. And then exhale, lower down. Straighten the legs out in front of you. Take your arms up overhead. And as you exhale, bow forward. So many people say, I can't do yoga, I can't touch my toes. Well, you don't have to touch your toes, but you know, if you never reach for your toes, if you never take the actions to get there, you're never going to get there. So we're just taking the next right actions for us today. Inhale, lift back up. We're going to come to stand on our knees. So this is the other part of the practice where you might want some padding under your knees because we're going to be on them a little bit for variations of Camel Pose. So one option is always to pull parts of your mat back so you have a platform under your knees, or put that towel or blanket under there and then stand on your knees here. So we're going to tuck the toes under for Ustrasana or Camel Pose. Let's start with the hands at the low back. So you'll bring, if you have pockets in your yoga pants, or maybe you do, it's as if you're putting the hands into the pockets, sliding the hands down a little bit to help your low back lengthen down, but also pushing the hands forward. Point the elbows back behind you and broaden across the chest. And notice right here that your head is in line with the rest of your spine. We're going to try to keep that as we back bend. So strong belly, inhale to lengthen up through the side bodies, and then exhale, back bend. Take your gaze across the ceiling, stay strong in your neck. And then inhale, lift up with your chest first, and then the front of your neck, and then your head. Release your hands down. Second camel pose, we're going to try to take our hands down to our feet. I like to bring my fingers on the inside of my ankle. That way I can push my hands out to the sides and it helps broaden across the chest a little bit more. So you can start with the hands back in the back pockets again, or arms up into cactus, whatever feels right for you. But make sure your core is turned on. Take a breath in to lengthen up, and then exhale, lean back. And then take one hand down. See if you can find that heel or ankle. If so, take the other hand down and lift the chest up. To come up, you inhale, bringing up the chest, and then the front of the neck, and then the head. All right, last version has a quad stretch in it. So if you want to see what that looks like, I'll show you here. You'll bend your right knee, catch your foot, and draw your heel up towards your hip. I like to hold on to the foot with my other hand and then walk my hand down, trying to get those toes up towards the armpit. And then I can fly the other arm up, maybe staying here or reaching back, finding the heel and opening up. And then you come out the same way, chest, neck, head. So last camel pose, if you're doing a one-sided version, you know you got to do one more on the other side. Or if you're doing an even version, go ahead and take your last one here. If you're doing one with the quad stretch, you bend the knee and you reach back with the opposite hand, hold the foot in place as you slide your arm down, reaching those toes up towards your armpit, and then other arm comes up to the sky or reaches down for the opposite heel or ankle. All right, I think that concludes camel pose for everybody. Good job. Let's come on to our backs and hug your knees up into your chest. We'll stretch out our low backs that way. Rock across your back. Loosen the hug of your knees just a little bit so the weight of your legs is over your low back, and then circle the knees in one direction around. And then in the other direction around. Keep the knees drawn in, but take your arms out to a T. On an exhale, take your knees to the right in a twist. Keep that left palm turned up to the sky and take your gaze past your left hand. On an inhale, bring your knees back up. And as you exhale, take the knees to the left and your gaze to the right. On an inhale, bring your knees back up and hug your knees in. Even bring your forehead to your knees. Stretch the back of your neck here. And then time to let it go. Stretch out, release all the effort of your practice. If you are following along with the playlist, you might fast forward to the final song if you're not there yet. Time for Shavasana. Stretch your body out. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Blow it out through your mouth. Do 2 more of those on your own, focusing on the exhale to let go of what has happened, and especially to let go of thoughts of, well, I did this right thing, so it should yield this next right thing for me. Let go of that should and just be with what is, knowing that your karma is the next right action for you and letting go of the result. Soften where you can, especially across your face and chest and belly. Let your entire back body melt. Soften into what is in this moment. Draw in a deeper breath now, and then sigh that deeper breath out. Mindfully, thoughtfully take the next steps to reawaken your body. Maybe wave your fingers and wave your toes, roll your wrists and roll your ankles. Stretch your arms above your head, point your toes, make a long body here. And then on an exhale, roll to your side. And take a moment here to honor yourself for letting go of the result and being present with what is and what is the next right thing for you to do. And then on another exhale, bring yourself up to a seat and close your eyes. Once you're settled in your seat, bring your hands to your heart. I hope you all have a day of taking the next right step for you, having faith that as you take these steps, you get closer to your goal, no matter what things happen that are out of your control. Let's take a moment to send our collective energy out to those in need, those who are sick, and those who are helping the needy and the sick. We send our energy to all the essential workers. We send our energy to those who are reopening and keeping things safe for us as they do. Namaste. Thanks, everybody.